Welcome back, Wrestling Warriors. Here on Matt Mysteries, we drop fresh WWE news every day. Subscribe, and let's suplex our way into the stories. The wrestling world is reeling from a storm no one saw coming. Behind the bright lights and larger-than-life storylines, a deeply personal crisis has erupted that's left fans shocked, divided, and questioning everything they believed about loyalty, trust, and family within WWE. Jey Uso, one half of one of the most celebrated tag teams in wrestling history, has reportedly filed for divorce after months of behind-the-scenes tension that insiders describe as heartbreaking and life-altering. What began as whispers of strain between two beloved figures in the wrestling world has evolved into one of the most talked-about off-screen sagas of the decade. A fracture behind the curtain. For years, Jey and his wife represented the ideal of partnership in professional wrestling, a duo admired for balancing the pressures of fame with the normalcy of love and family life. Together, they were seen as proof that unity could survive the chaos of travel schedules, live shows, and endless public scrutiny. But 8 months ago, things quietly began to change. Fans noticed less interaction between them online. Once frequent photos and affectionate posts vanished. Their arrivals at events became separate, and the warmth that once defined them seemed to cool in real time. What was once considered a power couple began to look distant, leaving many to wonder what had gone wrong. Whispers in the locker room. As speculation grew, reports from backstage painted a picture of unease rather than scandal. Colleagues began noticing tension, emotional fatigue, and a visible sadness around Jey. Those close to the couple described both as exhausted by the relentless nature of WWE life, constant travel, long workdays, and the strain of maintaining privacy in an industry that rarely allows it. While social media amplified rumors, insiders urged caution, reminding fans that even public figures have private pain. In the world of wrestling, where camaraderie and competition blur daily, personal boundaries can easily erode, and pressure can turn small misunderstandings into emotional battles. A moment that changed everything. The breaking point reportedly came during a live event taping, where Jey allegedly discovered something that confirmed months of doubt and confusion. What followed was an emotional confrontation behind closed doors, one that left those present describing the atmosphere as devastating rather than explosive. WWE officials stepped in to de-escalate, ensuring privacy and support for everyone involved. No one came out of that night unscathed. It marked not just the end of a marriage, but the beginning of a wider conversation about mental health, trust, and emotional vulnerability within professional wrestling. The shockwaves through WWE is no stranger to controversy. But this situation hit differently because it wasn't a storyline. It was real life unfolding among people who genuinely considered each other family. The Anoa'i legacy, which Jey proudly represents, has long stood for unity and loyalty. That makes any personal fracture within that circle particularly painful, not only for the individuals involved but also for the fans who've invested emotionally in that family's legacy. Roman Reigns, as both a cousin and locker room leader, now faces the difficult task of supporting Jey while keeping the broader Bloodline story intact. Jey Uso, Jey's twin and tag team partner, is said to be caught between love for his brother and the need to maintain professionalism in the ring. For everyone involved, separating performance from personal heartbreak has never been harder. A family under pressure. The emotional fallout of this split has spread far beyond wrestling headlines. Friends, family members, and longtime colleagues have spoken of how painful it's been to watch two people who once embodied partnership now walk separate paths. Those close to Jimmy describe him as heartbroken but determined to stay grounded, focusing on his career and his children. Family gatherings once filled with laughter are now tense, and the dynamic within WWE's first family has shifted in ways no one could have anticipated. Despite the personal devastation, the family's focus reportedly remains on healing, protecting the children involved, and ensuring that private matters stay private. The emotional cost of life in the spotlight. What many fans forget is that wrestlers are human beings who live under a microscope. The same audiences who cheer for them in arenas also follow their every post, photo, and facial expression. That constant exposure leaves little room for mistakes or emotional breathing space. The demands of maintaining an image, while traveling hundreds of days a year, create stress that most people can barely imagine. Behind every promo and match is a person trying to keep relationships alive under extraordinary pressure. Jimmy's situation highlights the hidden emotional toll of fame, exhaustion, isolation, and the painful trade-offs between career success and personal peace. WWE's corporate crossroads inside WWE headquarters, this development has reportedly sparked difficult conversations. Executives are weighing how to address a deeply personal matter without exploiting it for ratings or publicity. Some advocate stepping back entirely, allowing the individuals involved to heal privately. Others worry about how silence could feed speculation. It's a delicate balance between compassion and corporate image. One thing is clear: the company must demonstrate empathy, not as a public relations move, but as a moral obligation. In a business built on storytelling, knowing when not to tell a story is sometimes the most important decision of all. The ripple effect across the industry. This incident has sparked widespread discussions within wrestling circles about professionalism, boundaries, and respect in an industry that often blurs the personal and professional. Many wrestlers are reportedly reassessing how they navigate relationships, travel schedules, and backstage interactions. For younger talent especially, this has become a cautionary tale about maintaining integrity and emotional discipline in a high-pressure environment. It's also forcing WWE to reevaluate its own policies around conduct and counseling, proof that sometimes the hardest lessons bring the most necessary change. Business implications and brand image. From a corporate perspective, WWE finds itself walking a tightrope between compassion and commercial responsibility. The company's family-friendly image and global partnerships make it essential to handle personal controversies with dignity and care. Investors and sponsors are closely watching how leadership responds, not because of gossip, but because it speaks to the culture WWE cultivates behind the scenes. In the modern entertainment industry, transparency and humanity aren't liabilities, they're strengths. How WWE manages this situation could set a precedent for how all sports and entertainment brands address personal crises among their stars. A lesson in humanity. At its heart, this story isn't about gossip or scandal. It's about the fragility of trust, the strain of fame, and the need for compassion in a business that rarely slows down. Jimmy Uso's journey through heartbreak and recovery mirrors what countless people face every day, albeit without millions watching. His struggle reminds us that strength isn't measured in silence, but in the willingness to confront pain honestly. For fans, this is a moment to reflect on empathy, to remember that behind every superstar is a human being trying to navigate life like anyone else. Looking ahead. As the dust begins to settle, the wrestling world stands at a crossroads. Will this be remembered as just another headline, or as the moment the industry began taking emotional well-being seriously? The answer depends on how both the company and the fans respond in the weeks ahead. For Jimmy Uso, the path forward may be uncertain, but those who know him best say one thing with confidence. His resilience is unshakable. He's endured injuries, setbacks, and now heartbreak. But through it all, he's never lost his connection with the fans who continue to cheer his name. And perhaps that's where his true strength lies. Not just in the ring, but in his ability to rise, rebuild, and remind everyone that even in wrestling's loudest storms, humanity still matters most.